Want to rise above what holds you back? These are the stories of those fighting that battle. It might also be the story of you. I'm Dan Waldschmidt, author of Edgy Conversations and strategist of billion-dollar companies all over the world. This is Mark Minard, author of The Story of You, the guy who knows a thing or two about never giving up. You're listening to Elevating Beyond. Let's get started.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Elevating Beyond with a two-word mission statement: change lives. And you know it, we have another phenomenal show. We're diving into the power of one of my favorite things. Look, last month we talked about perseverance. Now we're getting into something. I'm talking about imagination. I'm going to talk about how my own company from 11 years plus started with using imagination, how to really take it to that next level of your vision into then visioneering. And there's levels to this. There's levels to imagination. Then I'm also going to be talking about how to then get others to believe and be part of building your vision. But it all starts with this one thing: imagination. And the schools kind of forgot to keep teaching that, right? Like, they told us to start thinking in the box, to stop daydreaming. That's what they told me. And Elevating Beyond, Mark Minard, that's right. I'm here to bring the imagination back in to education. Speaking of this, something phenomenal. Speaking of imagination, like my book, The Story of You, started off with me sitting down, drawing stick figures one morning in my 30s. And then that led to a best-selling book. And yes, all of you that have it know this. The original stick figure drawings are in the book. And I'm super excited about this. I'm going to be doing another huge book signing. This is very special. We're marking the 2-year anniversary at the Barnes & Noble here in Columbus, Ohio, at Polaris Mall. Now listen, mark your calendars August 15th, because from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern, I'm not only going to be doing a signing. Barnes & Noble blocked out a big chunk of the store. They're letting me be mic'd up. I'm going to do a huge keynote speech there. I'm going to do a keynote speech there. The one and only Impossible is where every great adventure begins. And so I know a lot of people that live around here will be coming, but a lot of you amazing listeners, when we had our Elevating Beyond event at Dreamshine, we had amazing people purchasing tickets coming from 9 different states and also streaming in online. The cool thing about this is you don't have to purchase tickets. It's free, and there's going to be time to hang out with me. I'm going to be there talking, hanging out with everyone, plus doing my keynote. I would love to see you there. So mark your calendars, continue to follow up with me. Let me know, let us know if you're going to be coming. We'll mark you down. It's going to be amazing. So here we go. Let's get into this thing, imagination. Now listen, there's something I wrote a while back, and it makes me think today, something that echoes in my soul, and it's reaching out to all of you, and it's telling you, I want all of you to really listen to this. When you were a child, we used to play every day together. We would spend so much time together. As you continue to get a little older, we still knew each other. We were friends. We didn't spend as much time together, but we were still friends. But then, as you started to become a teenager and grow older, you completely abandoned me. You forgot about me. You gave up on me. And I'm telling you, don't give up on me. Who am I? I'm your imagination. That's right. That's our imagination speaking out to all of us as adults. Even Einstein said it. There's power in imagination. And I want all of you just to take time. This month, I have some special guests even coming in. Austin and Chanel back in the studio as we dive deeper into imagination. And I want you to think about this. My company Dreamshine 11 years ago, before we opened, a year before that, started with me having a vision of creating a place that would be outdoors, non-institutionalized, and beautiful for individuals with special needs. At this time, nothing like this existed. All they had were the horrible institutions. And I was envisioning like a pond, like a log home, and just a beautiful atmosphere. And I would start making notes about it. I'd write things down about it. Now, in the real world around me, none of it even existed yet. But the important thing about your imagination is, and also even making like a little vision board. And I'm going to explain to you the importance of a vision board is not the way people say that you just make a vision board and sit there and close your eyes and manifest and all the things come to you magically without the hard work. That's not true. But the beautiful thing about taping some pictures and images up is it, and go big, like shoot for the moon with your imagination on this, because if you miss, you'll be amongst the stars. Always go big. And what's the cool thing about it is you take time, like when you're going through your hard times, when nothing in your immediate circumstances even appears close to this, because it won't. For a while as you're creating it, you continue to go back, you look at that board, you close your eyes. For me personally, a lot of times when I jog, I close my eyes and I actually don't close them. I keep them open usually when I'm running, but I get into my head and I start envisioning and imagining. And that's what I would do with Dreamshine. I would imagine what it would be like when our first individual with special needs came. I'd imagine it was a client we work with, Brian. I imagine him there smiling. I imagine us throwing the football. I imagine his mom hugging me when he was there. I could feel her arms around me. This is the one time that I'm going to tell you, normally I say don't allow your feelings to dictate your decisions. That's true. But when you're really stepping into that vision, into that level of imagination, you do want to feel the feelings, feel the experience. Like I was feeling her wrapped around me. I was getting into that experience, because why this is so important is what you continue to focus on, then you continue to do the hard work. There is something that continues to pull you towards that. Because I've seen it happen with everything that I've ever done in my life. It won't always come out exactly how you imagined it, but you'll start to see the things coming together, the dots connecting, and then when you hit whatever it is that you're envisioning, you don't stop there, then you create another one. There's always another level. But when you hit it, you create another one, and you continue to just really get into it. And I just want you to all, like when nothing around you feels like it's gonna happen, like it seems crazy to the normal. That's why in school they said stop imagining, stop daydreaming. I'm telling you, start daydreaming. For part of each of your day, start daydreaming again. Even with me, do something that opens up your creativity. I started drawing those little stick figure drawings for fun that had like motivational and leadership messages to them that then led to an entire book. All that began by me using my imagination. And God gives us each our own beautiful gifts of how we access and tap into our own imagination. Your dream is different than mine, and it should be. But it starts like the moment you continue to activate that imagination and then start acting on it. There's something really powerful, and I have a great example for you. Think of times when all of a sudden you hear a new word that you think you've never heard before. And you ask someone, like, what does that mean? And they tell you, just for example, say the word is tree. Obviously, everyone's heard the word tree. But imagine you head in and you heard me talking and I said tree or something to someone. And you're like, what does that word tree mean? And I'm like, oh yeah, tree. It's right there. It's the thing that grows out of the ground with leaves on it. And, you know, maybe they thought there was some other definition for it. They're like, oh, I'm used to calling that a stump or whatever. I'm completely just using this as an example to get it through to your head. But the thing is, say you'd never heard this word, but now you know what it means. We've all had this happen to us. And you're like, well, I've never heard anyone say that before. But then we all know what happens, right? You'll be out in public, you'll be listening to the radio, you'll be watching TV, you'll hear other people talk. And what is it that you hear? You start hearing that word, you start seeing that word all over the place all of a sudden that you thought you never saw before. And I'm telling you, it's not that this word all of a sudden starts appearing everywhere before and it never was before you had heard it. It's because now you know what it is and you're more focused on it. And this is proof of the power of what you focus on. Like you really do. You don't just attract it by manifesting. It's like laser focus. The more you focus on something, the more you're open to it, the more you'll continue to notice it and pull it towards you. More and more and more. This happens to us. You know what I'm talking about when you get the definition, when you hear a new word that you thought you'd never heard, and then you start all of a sudden hearing it everywhere because you're paying attention to it. The same thing happens with your vision, with your imagination. And that's why as you continue to focus on it, that's why things like those vision boards and stuff do help, because it will pull you out of that circumstance that you're in right now that looks nothing like it. And you're able to look at it and see it and step into it. And remember, I'm going to give you one more example. Even with speaking, years later after Dreamshine, God put a vision in my heart before my book, before this podcast, of me speaking at an auditorium filled with hundreds and thousands of people. And I didn't want the spotlight. I'm like, God, no, you've got the wrong guy. You're not, why are you putting this in? I'm terrified to speak in public. I don't want that. I'm changing lives. I'm doing Dreamshine. I don't, please, no. But it wouldn't go away. And I realized God continued to put this seed in my heart that it was about changing and reaching lives at a whole other level, in addition to Dreamshine. And so then what I had to keep doing is I would step in. I was just jogging the other day. And I speak all over now, but I haven't hit that auditorium yet of 100,000 people that he showed me that day. So I know it's going to happen. And it's not about just wanting the spotlight, but it is about a vision that's in my heart and helping change all those lives and having that beautiful influence. And when I am envisioning this, the events that I'm starting to do when I'm speaking, I'm changing the game because I don't like to just speak. I'm adding in not just the effects, but the music in with the speaking, behind me speaking. You can't even comprehend it till you see it done. It's like a YouTube video live in person. I speak, I have the music come in at a certain time. It's a show and it's an experience and it's dropping bombs of value. And when I'm imagining being in this stadium filled with hundreds of thousands of people, I get into that imagination. I feel myself stepping out onto the stage from ground level. I can see the lights. I can feel the warmth of the light shining on me. I can hear the rumble of the crowd. I can feel my heart beating boom, 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 as I'm getting ready to step out there. I can smell the air. I can smell the field grass. I get into that experience. I can start to hear the people cheering as I'm coming out. I'm in that experience. I can smell what the lights and the smoke sound like, the warmth behind me. You got to get into it. You feel it. I'm so into it that when I pull myself out of it, I was literally there. I literally believe you go. And I know this is a truth because I've done it with my book, with Dreamshine. You go to that place. And then later on, one day, all of a sudden you're there. And it's like, oh my gosh, that's what kept happening. And you get caught up in the process, caught up in the grind, and you gotta keep going and going and going. And that's when people will tell you you're just daydreaming. Like you've got this wishy-washy dream. That's insane. Like you need to lower your aim, like go for something easier. And how many of us do that? We lower the bar on our own amazing imagination. Don't do that. Don't limit yourself. Don't put other people's limits on your imagination of what God can create you to do and be, because when you make it become a reality and they ask, how did it happen? You're like, God is orchestrating. That's how. That's how. You give the glory to God. So look, we're talking about the power, the beautiful power of imagination. And I want all of you listening, I'm giving you a homework assignment. Do something creative. Do a stick figure drawing. Do something that you don't normally do, just that starts tapping into that different part of your brain. Envision yourself, step into it, feel it, smell it, get the senses going. And I look forward to seeing you all in August. Get ready as the next special edition show comes live in studio with Austin and Chanel back in studio talking about all three of us, about imagination, how we all used it differently for creating our companies, our dreams. And also, I have my man Pierre Evans, who speaks directly with Eric Thomas. I met him through Eric Thomas, E.T. the Hip Hop Preacher. Pierre Evans, the best-selling author. He's been on Elevating Beyond twice. He is crushing it. He's going to be here live in studio in August. That's right. If you want to be on Elevating Beyond, I'm really not accepting guests anymore that don't come live in studio. And as you've been seeing, there's 2 podcasts now on iTunes. And you know what's crazy? I always envisioned having a show that was not just an audio show, but also a video show. I had that envisioning it in the studio. I imagined it like that, and it's becoming a reality. You see on iTunes, there's Elevating Beyond Audio and Elevating Beyond Video, 2 different shows. You can listen or watch it on video or do both, and the YouTube channel. So listen, everyone, this is Mark Minard. Never settle. Keep going after that beautiful imagination and keep elevating beyond.